Changes International, changing lives for the better. Our vision is to be a transformative platform that exposes lies and reveals the truth. Mind Changes International, we on a mission. Masking the falsehoods with every new edition. We're here to enlighten your mind with this vibration. Expose the lies, speaking truth, normal conversations. Mind Changes International, we on a mission. Masking the falsehoods.
Welcome to Mind Changes Podcast. I'm your host, Lamar Blakney, and I got my boy, my sidekick, Mr. Shann Atkinson with us.
What's going on, man? How you doing? How was your week, man? How was your week?
Oh, man, my week was challenging, man, but in a good way. Yeah, it was challenging in a good way.
I get it, man. It be like this sometimes.
Yeah, we wasn't here last week, y'all, but we back for another exciting episode. I'm getting my mizzle together.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Listen, I hope all the fathers out there had a good Father's Day.
Yeah.
How was your Father's Day, Sean?
It was great, man. It's always good. I mean, when you got when your children are able to celebrate you, man, it's always great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So listen, let's get to our episode today.
All right.
It's a pretty exciting episode, Sean.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
this episode was meant for last week, but of course, we all had things going on, and we had to get ourselves together. So we pushed this episode for the last day of the month.
Yeah, man. And we want to celebrate all fathers. Man, I'm trying to get this mic right. I need it right here. We're trying to celebrate all fathers because, you know, we don't get the celebration like the moms get, and everybody know
That's
that
true.
you get you some socks and, you know, a couple of other things that you gotta act like you happy you got it. Like, yeah, I really needed this. You ain't need no more socks, man. Hold on, let me put my together, Sean.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know, y'all. Y'all hear all that noise, man, in the background. That's me fighting with this microphone. Yeah, let me get it right now. Let me tighten it up here. Still ain't right. It's getting on my nerves. And let y'all know.
I know, right?
We just as live as we want to be.
I know, right?
There we go. Finally got it where I needed it to be. Right here in the grizzle. So listen, everybody. This episode is titled "Redefining Fatherhood in a Broken Generation," and
Absolutely.
I can say for myself that we do live in a broken generation. I mean, if you look at crime, you look at what's going on in society. Fathers play a big role.
That's
and so,
right.
Let me get my thing here because I know we're going to get some people who want to chime in. Listen, if you want to chime in, go ahead and chime in.
Oh, yeah.
We want to have a very, very interesting conversation about fatherhood.
Yes.
Yeah, I know people like, well, hey, fathers. Yes. Can't have a world without fathers. You can't have a world without mothers. Right.
That's right.
So, Sean.
Yeah, man.
Tell me, when you think about fatherhood, brother, what comes to your mind?
Well, you open it up with saying we're in a broken generation, and this generation started a while ago because you and I are products of a broken home, plain and simple. I mean, this is not a new thing. This has been going on for a while.
That's correct.
And it just seems like it's picking up steam, and it's almost become an epidemic.
Yeah,
so
I
many
agree.
people that we know are dealing with situations where they were in a broken home or a very toxic environment with their fathers, or their were just not present, or present and violent, and or just deadbeat and all in general, and you're just looking at a man on the other side of the table that's just not doing anything for you. So yeah, but you asked me, what do I think about fatherhood? Fatherhood is just it is just being there for your children. It is being there mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, teaching them the ways to get through life, showing them the mistakes that you've made, being transparent, letting them know these are the mistakes I made. Because at the end of the day, nobody's perfect.
That's true.
I wasn't perfect. I wasn't perfect by no stretch of the imagination. And I tried to live a perfect life as a father, when all in all, I just should have taught my children the mistakes I made to help them from going down some of the paths that I went down as a young man.
Yeah, and you know, no disrespect to my father, man.
Hmm.
I had that absence, and that
Yeah.
absence really affected me in a
Yeah.
lot of ways.
Absolutely.
I feel like I could have been a better man if I had that nurturing, that let me take you by the hand, son. Let me
Okay.
show you what you do and what you don't do. Let me show you how to treat women. Let me show you how not to treat women, because I'm going to be your living example. And so
Right.
when I look at fatherhood, Sean, I look
Hmm.
at the extension of Yahweh, the extension of God, how
Right.
he is the father,
That's right.
and he created Adam, which was his son, right?
Hmm.
And he walked with him.
That's
And
right.
if you ever see a young man or a young boy walking with his father, he has a certain level of confidence. Like,
Yes.
wow, his hero has him by the hand.
That's
His
right.
hero is in his life and loves
Hmm.
him, because I'm gonna tell you, when a man loves a man child, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
That man child grows up different,
That's right.
because he realized that because I'm a man, it doesn't mean I can't show my son love.
That's
And
right.
I remember, Sean, that hard thing. Oh, don't act like no punk, don't cry. Listen, crying is an emotion that is necessary at the right time.
That's right.
If you strip that from a young man, if you strip that
Hmm.
from a young woman, they grow up desensitized, and they can't use it. They can't use their emotions effectively, because I was
Right.
told this emotion is wrong.
That's right.
So, Sean, get into your open monologue, man, so we can kind of dive into this a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get something straight right now. Fatherhood is not a luxury by no stretch of the imagination.
Hmm.
It's not it's a necessity, and not just any kind of fatherhood, but godly, intentional, present, protective, purpose-driven fatherhood is is so important when we're walking through this life and we're caring for our
Hmm.
children. You see, we live in a culture that thinks that the man's role ends at conception. Once the baby is
Mm.
conceived, they're gone.
Say that
But the
again, Sean.
Bible,
Sean,
we
say that again. I
so
like that. I like that. Say that again.
yeah, we live in a culture that thinks a man's role ends at conception, and we're seeing that right now. We see so many
Hmm.
men that are walking away. They're just it's almost like it's a game. They're out there trying to create as many babies as they possibly can.
Mm.
And then
Sound like Nick
they hit
Cannon.
them. Absolutely. Hit it and quit it. Well, here's the thing. Nick Cannon takes care of his kids. So
Yeah.
that's a whole different that's a different
Now hold up.
scenario.
Pause right there. You can't be at 7 places at one time.
Mhm.
You can't be at 11 places at one time. Yes,
Mhm.
he can provide financially, but
Mhm.
there will be a gap. And we're going to talk about that. That's why I'm not going to stop
Okay.
you. I'm going to just get back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You cannot be a part-time parent. It don't work.
I
Being a
agree. I agree.
part-time parent do not work. But go ahead on and
That's
continue,
right.
sir.
Yeah, like I said, we live in a culture that thinks a man's role ends at conception. But the Bible, biology, uh, social convention, and
Hmm.
even the brokenness in our streets, they prove it otherwise. When a man is missing, then the system moves in. And when the system moves in, it takes over and it ends up parenting the child in many different ways,
Hmm.
whether it is incarceration or whether it is in suppression, because the system doesn't care. The system is not designed to raise your child. The system is nothing more than designed to watch over and make sure your child doesn't do right. And the moment your child doesn't do right, they incarcerate. So tonight we're going to break it all down from the prisons that profit off of absent
Hmm.
fathers to children searching for affirmation in all the wrong places, to the womb of the woman, to the wombs of the women that are holding more than babies.
Hmm.
Sometimes holding broken DNA passes down from the man who never stays. If
Wow.
you're a man listening, don't just listen. Look in the mirror,
Hmm.
because this episode is about restoring your image to match the one who made you. And if you're a woman listening, your voice matters too,
Hmm.
because because who you allow into your room determines what you release into the world.
That's right. That's right. And Sean, listen. Now, everything you just said was extremely powerful, right?
Hmm.
So, what I want to do, I want to speak directly to us men. I want to speak
Gotcha.
directly to the heart of us men. See, when God created man in his image and likeness, we know that because we find that in the book of Genesis
Right.
1:26. But many of us have been living a reflection of culture, not the
Mm-hmm.
creator. We live
Right.
a reflection of our culture and not the
Gotcha.
creator.
That's
Just
right.
because you have a biology of a man doesn't mean you carry the identity of one.
Okay.
You heard what I said? Just because you
Yes.
carry the biology of a man doesn't mean you carry the identity of one. And when you carry that identity of God, now you look like the image he created. Hey Sean, hold up.
Right.
I got a guy going to my restaurant to clean up. Hold up, y'all. I gotta take this because if not, he going to jail because my alarm gonna come on. We all the way live. Hey sir.
What's happening, man?
Hey, listen, man, I'm on my podcast, man. Listen, a lot of people hearing you right now on my podcast. But are you at the restaurant?
Okay. I'm at the restaurant getting ready to bust these forward.
Okay, let me turn that alarm off. Was the alarm off when you got there?
No, I'm just getting here. That's why I was calling you too. I'm outside.
All right, let me turn it off. Listen, y'all, I told y'all we live for real. Ain't no joke. We ain't playing around. All right, the alarm is disabled, my friend. Go on and handle your business.
All right, thank you, sir. We'll be in touch.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. Y'all saw that right there. Hold on, let me put my thing back up here right quick. Yeah, this been one day, I tell you. It's been one of those days. Excuse me, y'all. Like I told you, we live. We ain't playing around.
Yeah. You running
Yes.
a restaurant, running a podcast. So anybody out there that wants good seafood, it's Busting the Gut Seafood, located in Rocky Mount. I want you to go down there and bust your gut down there at his restaurant.
Yes, sir, because you will get your gut busted all day long. Hold on, let me go here so I can stay in line with our notes and everything, my friend. Yes, sir. Yes, we are all the way live. Okay. Cleaning, man. So, like I said, just back to what I was saying. You know,
Yeah.
when God said he created a man in his image and likeness, that means you're supposed to walk a different way. Your identity is a reflection of his nature. Not
Okay.
that you are God. No, you're supposed to be a representation of what he created, right? So
Okay.
a true father, he just don't provide the seed. He provides structure.
Mm-hmm.
Children need structure. He provides stability and
Okay.
spiritual legacy. He has to. He doesn't abandon his post. And a lot of us men abandon their posts. Now I'm going to talk about me,
Yes, we
right? My irresponsibility had led me to be a part-time father,
do. Okay.
which meaning that when I wasn't around my children, I had abandoned my post. Listen, we're going to be real.
Okay.
We're going to talk real. This is why you should have all your children in one household, because it affects them when the father is not around. So I wanted to put myself in that because I'm not a hypocrite. So I'm going to give it straight, right?
Mm-hmm.
A father is supposed to stand in the gap because of purpose. He's
That's right.
supposed to stand in the gap because of purpose. And in today's world, we're confused.
Yeah.
Masculinity with manhood tonight.
Right.
No, listen. So we're going to talk about how the absence of a father isn't just a personal failure. It's a national crisis. It's
Yes, it
a
is.
national crisis. And economic opportunities for systems that were never meant to love your child. Prison was never meant to love your child. A stepfather in a home that could be abusive was never designed to love your child. A mother should not be raising her child alone. She was not designed to be there to raise your child. So this episode is not about a guilt trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a glory call. And I don't know if you know what a glory call is. It's a glory call, Sean, a glory call. It's a charge for all of us men to step back into the divine order and become what we were always meant to be.
That's right.
So Sean, let's go to our segment. We're going to talk about, what is a godly father, right?
All right.
So let's spend about 15 minutes on this so that we can dig deep into what's a godly father.
Okay.
So Um, let's start with scripture, right?
Okay. All right, go for it.
And if you're somebody that don't agree with what we agree with and don't serve who we serve, just go to another episode, go to another podcast, because we're gonna be who we are and we're gonna be who we was created to be. So let's go to Ephesians, Shann 6:4, right?
Okay.
It says, "Fathers, bring up your children in discipline and instructions of the Lord." Now, this ain't the King James version; it's a different version. Then we have
Okay.
Proverbs 27. It says, "The righteous father leaves a legacy of blessings." And then
Yep.
my last note point is Genesis 2:15. God gave Adam responsibility before relationship. You heard it,
Okay.
right? He gave him
Mhm.
responsibility for before relationship. So Shann,
Right.
I want you to have a talking point about this right here.
Yeah. Let's see. Fatherhood begins before the baby arrives. It's not just about the DNA that you pass on, it's about the legacy, the identity, and the authority. A child knows who they are when the father knows who he is, plain and simple.
Mm,
Because once the father knows who he is and where he stands and his responsibility
hmm
in raising that child, then the child sees that, and then the child knows who they are. They know because they are
Yeah,
they are the legacy of the identity that that father creates when he starts fathering those children.
yeah,
Plain and simple.
yeah. And it's about that's a good point, Shann. It's about following the leader, right?
Hmm.
You can't lead your child. You can't ask your child to follow you if you don't know how to follow God. You
Hmm.
can't lead your child if you can't let God lead you, right?
Okay.
And that's where I believe Adam failed. Not when he sinned, but when he stood silent when evil fell, right?
Hmm.
When he
Hmm.
stood silent when Eve fell. He stood silent. He could have stood up and took that responsibility and was like,
Right.
yes, God, the woman
Right.
you created for me, I did not, how can I say this? He blamed it on her when he should have
Yeah.
took responsibility and says, hey,
Yeah.
maybe I should have taught her better. Maybe I should have not touched it even though she did. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I love
Hmm.
my wife. But if that was me and Adam, oh, she'd have been short. She'd have been
No.
standing outside
No.
on the other
No.
side because God said, if you touch this, you're going to die. Even though I
You're
didn't
gonna
know what
sure.
die meant, you would
Right.
surely die. I'd be like, listen,
Right.
baby, I love you. Let me look down. So if he take another rib, then all my ribs will be even. So listen, you go ahead on over there and you wait for him because he's about to come when the day gets cool. In the cool of the day, he coming. But nah, for real talk though,
Yep.
you know, us men, we have to become followers not only of our purpose, but followers of the person who gave us our purpose.
Okay.
And that's God. I mean, my sensei used to tell me there's no bad students, only bad teachers.
Right.
And as a young guy, I used to argue that with him all the time. I'm like, that's not true. That's not true. Well, as I gotten older, I realized parents are not our children only teachers,
Hmm.
right? Television is teaching them.
Hmm.
Social media is teaching them.
Hmm.
Their friends are
That's right.
teaching them.
That's
When
right.
they see something happen in the community that's wrong, that person is teaching them. That's why I say there's no bad students, only bad teachers.
Right. Well,
And
here's the thing. Well,
uh,
here's the thing. The world is always going to be
where's Shann at? I lost Shann, y'all. I guess he'll come back in when he realizes he's been lost. Cause I don't see him anywhere. Oh man. He was about to say some good things. Let me see if we still online here. Because something just happened. Real time protection enabled. Yes, he'll come back in. Yeah, we lost Shann, y'all. He listen, go out in it. There he go. He coming back. There you go. I don't know what happened, Shann, but where you go, man?
I don't know. I froze up.
Boy, we are having a time today.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we having a time today. But hey, I got it. I got you. I got you. But finish your statement, sir.
I was just what did I where did y'all hear me leave? Where did y'all hear me leave?
I can't remember. because I was so focused on you being gone.
Right, right. Well, definitely. We as fathers have always got to be, because the world is always going to try to teach your kids wrong. Always, you
Hmm.
cannot shelter them from things in the world that are evil or teaching the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's why we have to be present, so that when they bring that home, we can have those conversations. We can talk about those things.
Yeah.
We can help them decipher the things they're hearing, the things the friends are hearing, the older kids in the neighborhood, the teachers, the TV. That's where we need to be present, because we can't shelter them,
Yeah. We
because we
can.
want them to go out there and experience everything the world has to offer. But we can't allow the world to teach them either. And if we're not present, the
Hmm.
world is going to teach them.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, the mothers do incredible jobs. I'm
Hmm.
not going to sit here and say women cannot raise the kids without us. I'm not saying that whatsoever, because you women do incredible jobs.
Yeah.
There's incredible, awesome examples of that out there. All I'm saying is that we as fathers also have to be in place, and we have to, because there's certain things that we can teach them that you can't. There's
Yeah.
certain things that we can teach that women can't teach, and vice versa. There's certain things that women can teach that we cannot teach. So that
Hmm.
is where it's that partnership. It's that us coming together as man and woman to teach the children the things that we are not, that we can, and allow the others to teach what we're not proficient in.
Man, I'm gonna tell you my this is a funny story, right? So my oldest, Shaka, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was so attached to me when she was little. I couldn't
Okay.
sleep in peace.
Yeah, I
The ch-
remember.
the
I remember.
child would lay across my back like a cross,
I remember.
and she had to. Her feet had to be on me. Her arm. She had to feel my body temperature, or she was going crazy. So Sean, I used to take her home, right? Give
Mm-hmm.
her to her mom, and man, she would cut a fit, grab
Right.
my leg, wrap around my leg, and I have to drag this child back with me. And then
That's right.
she's in the back of the seat crying and laughing at the same time.
Okay.
And so I saw, and the reason I told you the story, I saw this video, right, of this little boy. It's on Facebook, cute little light skinned kid, right?
Okay. Okay.
And his dad, when his dad leaves, he lose it. Like he gets up, he runs, he goes. The camera follow him through the whole house. He's just looking. He's looking. He's looking for his father, because it's something about
Yeah.
a father
A
that,
present father.
a
A present
present
father.
father that
Yeah.
gives a child, when he leave, he's gone too long.
Right.
And when he's there, they want to be wherever he is.
That's right.
And the father figure helps shape the discipline of the household,
Right.
because my wife would say something to the kids and they act like she's speaking in Spanish. All I had to do was like this, Sean. Right? I look at them
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
as if we were speaking telepathically.
Right.
They was, when my head go down, they would sit down real slow, but they never take their eyes off me.
Gotcha.
When I walk into the room, I got a different respect in her. Not that they didn't respect their mom. It's just
Mm-hmm.
something about the authority of a father who is in his role.
Right.
Right?
That's
So,
right.
People listen. The world is messed up, not because
Yeah.
children are bad, because men are not in place. And if
That's
they are in
exactly
place, they are the
that's what it
worst
is.
person to be there.
That's
So, and we're going to talk about this in our next segment, when fathers are absent, the ripple effect.
Okay.
So, Sean, give the first statistic on the ripple effect, because we talked about it in our notes.
the first statistic.
Yeah, the shocking stats.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Prisons use third grade reading scores and fatherless rates to forecast future prison beds. So I want you to
Wow.
understand that prisons use third grade reading scores and fatherless rates to forecast the future prison beds that they need. Private prisons
Wow.
make billions from communities where fathers are absent. The average cost to incarcerate one youth per year is $112,000. And the average cost to provide a strong two-parent household and after school mentoring is under $5,000.
Wow, that's
So
crazy.
there's even more money to be made in these private, because all these prisons
Mm-hmm.
are owned by private corporations. So they want to incarcerate as many people as they possibly can. And we have got to make sure that we don't do everything we can as fathers
Mm-hmm.
not to give these prisons that business, because they want that business.
Yeah.
Now, there's definitely people that deserve to be in prison. There's some really bad people out
Yeah.
there. Absolutely. But not everybody who's in prison deserves to be there.
Yeah.
They just didn't have a great start because we as fathers did not give them that great start. And we have got to be accountable, and we got to turn it around. We've
Yeah.
got to do everything we can to be in our children's lives, to give them the confidence that they need to be the individual that God always meant them to be.
Yeah. And here's the crazy thing, Shann. You know, when you look at school, right?
Mm-hmm.
School is teaching our children how to be prisoners. Now, I know a
Okay.
lot of people gonna say, "Well, what is Lamar talking about?" Because
Yeah,
he
what
go
are you
left,
talking about?
he go right. Well, guess what? There's a bell that sounds, and when you go outside the classroom, what do? You get in a line,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Not only you get in line, they tell you when you have recess.
Okay.
Don't they do that in prison?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
That
they
that is a that is
tell
a
you you have
level of, yeah.
recess, and then the higher authority reprimands you.
Okay.
Not physically, like we used to get whoopings in school. Y'all guys come up now, y'all don't know nothing about that. Teacher take your
No,
fingers and pull it back like this and hit you with that ruler. You think she just tore all of the ligaments out your hand.
I know
So
that's right.
so there's a lot of systems in place that is teaching our children how to be when they get there. And so let's talk about some shocking statistics from the U.S. Department of Justice, right, Shann? It says
Okay.
85% of youth in prison comes from fatherless homes. Do y'all hear this, fathers? 71% of high school dropouts and 63% of youth suicides are fatherless. That comes from the CDC. These ain't coming from Lamar. These are the statistics. Fatherless boys are twice as likely to commit crimes and 3 times more likely to go to prison by age 20. That is horrible.
Yeah,
That is horrible.
that is.
That is horrible. And so society took the discipline out of the household and say you can't whoop your child. That's abuse. Well, what's more abuse, Shann? Them going to prison for 20 years
Right.
or a 30-minute whooping? Because I gave out 30-minute. No, I didn't beat my kids that long. I didn't discipline them that long.
Okay.
However, what's worse? Disciplining them for about 3 or 4 minutes or 3 to 5 years in prison.
Okay.
If your child had to take one, which one would they take, Shann?
Yeah, they would take the discipline. Absolutely.
Yeah, take the
They would
discipline.
take the discipline. They would take the discipline.
You can't discipline your children because it affects them emotionally. What do you think prison do?
Right.
What do you think gangs do? You don't think that affects your children negatively?
You can definitely discipline your child without whooping them, though. But that's a whole nother conversation right there.
Yeah, you can. You can.
That's a whole nother conversation.
And it's dependent on the child.
That's another podcast, people. So stay
I know.
tuned.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. If my mama didn't whoop me, it'd have been bad, bro. It would have been bad. I wouldn't have killed nobody. It would have been bad. So, Shann, let's do a talking point about fatherless in the gateway, right?
Okay. Definitely. Where you at?
At your talking point, right quick.
Okay. Now, the government isn't confused. It's complacent. When you strip the father from the home, you create a pipeline from the hospital to the holding cell. Plain and simple. I mean, because now not every child is destined for prison. We're not going to sit there and say just because you don't have a father in the home, you are destined to prison.
Yeah.
So I don't want to paint that bleak picture. Definitely not, because there is tons of fatherless children that go on to do amazing things. But we do have an incarceration problem that goes without question. And a lot of these children have fathers absent in the home. So that is a point that we have to look at. We have to understand. So we have to shut down that pipeline from the hospital to the holding cell.
Mm-hmm.
And fathers are the key to getting back in the home and being healthy individuals and raising their children. And even if they're not in the home, I understand that some fathers just can't coexist with the mother. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that the perfect world you would be there, but sometimes you can't. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that, but you still can raise your children. There still can be that co-parenting situation to where you guys
Mm-hmm.
can respect one another and parent that child in a loving and healthy way to get that child in the direction they need to be.
Yeah. Because, Sean, fatherless children
Mm-hmm.
is the gateway to drug dysfunction, right? Most of
Okay.
what we call rebellion is really just a cry for affirmation, right?
Okay.
So when a father is removed, so we go back to the 70s, Sean, right?
Okay.
That's when a lot of fatherless homes took place in America, because
Okay.
in order for a woman to get any type of benefits from Social Security, social
Okay.
services, not Social Security, social services, the father could not be in the household. So
Right.
it forced the woman to go and live without the man in the home.
That's true. That's
And
true.
and that was the first strategic move of getting fathers out of the house. So when
Okay.
fathers are removed from the house, the world is the world reassigns the child's identity. The streets, the gangs, and the system, they take over what the father was designed to build.
Okay.
And that's why young men, man, they don't have no respect. When I say young men, I'm not speaking about all young men. There are some young men out here who don't even have a father that's done great things.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me. My
Yeah.
father didn't raise me.
Right.
But how can I say this? Him not being in my life, excuse me, made me rethink how I would be as a father.
Okay.
So, and y'all probably heard me say this time and time again. Bill Cosby, the Cosby Show, gave me a lot of pointers on how to be a father.
Okay.
That show, forget what the man, I ain't gonna say forget what he done
Yeah.
or what y'all think he did.
Right.
That show took this little boy from Baltimore, Maryland,
Right.
and showed him how to be a father. I watched the lessons. I watched how the strategic things he would do with his children. And my
Okay.
kids, I am that way with them. I am that
Okay.
way with them. So we're going to go to segment 2B, Sean, the progenitor principle, the seed that shapes generations, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to start that off. We got to understand this, that a man is more than a donor. Sean said that before. He's a progenitor. And a lot of people don't know what that means. That means that he's the source of the originator. Spiritually and genetically, the child carries his imprint mentally, emotionally, and behaviorally. I did not know. My father didn't raise me, but here's the funny thing. We are just alike. We are so much alike. When I found out about it, I got mad. Because there were things he didn't have to teach me, Sean. There was things that was genetically imprinted in my DNA. And I get mad like he get mad.
Right.
I was chasing women like he was chasing women. We have the same type of demeanor, walk, movement, and he didn't raise me. Now listen,
Okay.
he wasn't a bad father.
Okay.
He was not a bad father. Now we had some run-ins and things, but he was never a bad father, because you have to be one first to be bad at it. And I've always said
Right.
that.
Right.
Later in my life, he came into my life, and I love my father, and I still do love him. Right.
Okay.
But I didn't get that reciprocation of love. And so what I did was I took what I didn't get and gave it to my children. Right.
Okay.
Some of them, one of them may say that ain't true. Well,
Right.
if he come around, he'll find it out. That's just the truth. But anyway, the scientific breakdown, right? Children carry more paternal genetic influence in behaviors and cognition
Okay.
They are microorganisms. I never pronounce that word. A man's DNA fragment can remain in a woman's womb, productive system, to influence future pregnancies. So guess
Okay.
what? Sometimes a father ain't the father of the child. He's the father biologically, but he's not the father spiritually, because women has allowed too many visitors in their house. Can I say it that way, Sean?
Okay. Yeah.
They
Yep.
allowed too many visitors in the house. And I heard a woman say, all men are sorry. Well, then y'all stop sleeping with them,
Okay.
because they can't be sorry by themselves. They have to have somebody sorry with them.
That's right.
They have to have somebody sleeping with them. So when a woman say, all men are sorry, all they want is this and that, well, then stop giving it to them. Because if you
Okay.
gave it to him, you just as he is. I just hate when women say that. Oh, men sorry. They cheat on their wives. Well, guess what? You was the woman he was cheating with. Why you cheat with him?
Right. Okay.
I'm just saying. I know I just went off track on that one, but
Yeah.
that was one for the history books, y'all. Y'all know I'm
I
gonna
know that's
always
right.
say something crazy every now and then. But
Oh, yeah.
but women, you have to know the company you're keeping. You have to know the company you're creeping with.
That's right.
You got to know the company you're sleeping with. This is why women should get to know the man's family before she get to know him,
Okay.
right? So we're talking about that DNA, right? So Sean, the father's Y chromosome determines the sex, right?
Okay.
It determines the risk of disease and the traits related to that man. That's why
Okay.
they always ask you questions like, tell me your family history. Because they want
Gotcha.
to know about your DNA structure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say this. I'm gonna talk about my son Amale, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And then I'm talk about me. I'm gonna do this comparison.
Okay.
If I was as mature as he is, I'm saying at 24, he's
Mm-hmm.
27 now. If I was as mature as he was at 24, my whole life would be different.
Okay.
I never told Amale he was a boy. Never. I said, who are you, Amale? A young, strong man, highly favored by God. He knew
Okay.
he was a man when he was young enough to be called a boy.
Okay.
Never called him a boy, told him he was a man. I have learned more lessons from my son in the last 3 years that has amazed me,
Okay.
because I was able to give him what wasn't given to me. And then I saw the benefits of what I gave him come out of him when he had to have a conversation with his father, even when he wasn't happy with something that I've done.
Okay.
It's like I'm talking to a real man. That's how mature he is.
That's awesome. That's
Well, guess
awesome.
what? Now let's go to me. At 24,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't mature because I
Right.
didn't have the progenitor that Amale had, which was me.
Okay.
I didn't
Right.
have the father say, hey, son, don't do this. Hey, son, don't do that. Hey, son, listen. Hey, son, no. Hey, son, yes. Hey, son, no. Think about this. Don't do that. I didn't have that. So
Okay.
my son showed me what I could have been at
I
his
got you.
age if I had what he had
Right.
in me. You get it?
I get it.
And it's the same for you, Sean. You didn't have
Yeah.
your mom and your father. And guess what
Yeah.
kind of father you are? You are an amazing father
Thank
to
you.
your children.
Yes.
How I
Well,
know?
see,
They won't leave you.
yeah, yeah, they don't want to leave. They want to keep. They want to hang around. Absolutely, absolutely. And there's a situation too at times to where sometimes an individual sees the wrong and wants to do the opposite, and
Mm-hmm.
that happens with a lot of people where they, you have some individuals that see the wrong, learn the wrong, and want to stay with the wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And then you have other individuals that see the wrong, don't want to live the wrong, and want to do it a whole different way. And by the
Mm-hmm.
grace of God, I was blessed um, with that inside of me, to the point to where I wanted to be a present father. I wanted to be a good
Mm-hmm.
father to my children. I wanted to always be in their life. I'm not saying that I was perfect, and I'm not saying I got it all right, but the
Mm-hmm.
one thing I can say was I was always present and I was always available to them.
Yeah.
And we figured it out together, and that's the main thing. figure it out together. Like in your point where you were talking about how you weren't mature enough at 24, you made some decisions that kind of linger throughout your life, and you created, children with other women, and but you decided at some point
Mm-hmm.
that you were going to do it right. You were going to get yourself together. You were going to do everything you could to be in these children's lives the best that you possibly could. And doing that, you changed, you matured,
Mm-hmm.
you became more of a man. And during that growth process is when Marley saw that. Marley knows what your past was. You've been very vocal, very open to what you used to do,
Mm-hmm.
and he has seen your change. So now he can see the bad example, and he can see the
Mm-hmm.
changed man that you are today, which gives him the tools that he needs to be 24 and completely do it differently. Completely do it differently.
Yeah, man. He saw my face when I got my paycheck, man. That's why I got PTSD to this day.
Right.
Child support gave me PTSD,
Right.
post-traumatic stress.
Yes.
Boy, listen, I'm telling y'all, and I know this jumping, to see my friends bring home $1,900 every 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and mine's is $900 every 2 weeks, and I'm working at the same job, but I'm doing
Right.
more hours than they doing. I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell y'all,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have post-traumatic stress because of that. That's why I don't
Right.
like looking at check stubs. That's why I stopped working for people. So
Right.
I ain't got to never see another check stub. I make my own money.
Absolutely.
then I pay when I need to pay.
Yep.
But fathers, we have to know that we can do better
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to showing our children how to love, showing our children how to respect women, showing our
Mm-hmm.
children how to follow God, showing
Yep.
our children how to let their emotions, come out at times. You're not a punk because you cried.
That's right.
No, you're not. That means you're human. That means you released an emotion that God gave you. He gave you those tears for a reason. Those
That's
tears
right.
release things out of you that shouldn't be in you.
That's right.
And they
That's
help you.
right.
That's why you feel better when you cry. Because you're
That's right.
releasing something.
Yes.
You're
And
releasing
men,
something.
yeah. And men, don't just ask who you want to sleep with. Ask who you want to shape, because what you deposit in her, she's going to deliver to the world. It's going to deliver to the world. And
Mm.
women, ladies, protect your womb. It's not just a nursery, it's a battlefield. When
Mm-hmm.
you let an unhealed man enter, you might be raising a child with residue of every broken piece inside of him. And that is so important. That is so
Shama.
important.
How they say Sean? Shama. Shama. That boy just said something. He just
Absolutely.
says, y'all better protect your womb like you protect your
Yes.
wallet. Keep it closed.
Yes, right.
Keep it closed. Because we got a lot of those 5+1s. And y'all know
Yep.
what I'm talking about when
Yep.
I say 5+1s.
Yep.
I'm going to leave it right there. So,
Absolutely.
Sean, let's talk about this segment right here. The
Yeah,
broken.
segment 4. We've
Yeah.
already done segment 3. We were out of order a little bit, so let's
Oh,
move on to
okay.
segment 4. Yeah,
All right,
segment 4.
all right. So let me get to segment 4. But before we get to segment 4, I want to say to all the fathers out there, those who are definitely, really, really doing the best they can, and us women, we gotta stop being so bitter that even though we're not with this man, even though y'all not with this man, let me say it like that. That y'all can't co-parent, y'all can't get along, y'all can't be happy. But it's like when a woman is not with the man, she gives him all that smoke,
Mm-hmm.
all that smoke, and then the child is forced to view that. The child is
Okay.
forced to see that,
Mm-hmm.
and so no system profits more from males' dysfunction
Mm-hmm.
than the justice system, and
That's right.
that is because fathers, how can I put it? That's because we bankrupt the system.
Mm-hmm.
We build communities instead of cages, right?
Yes. That's how you do it. You bankrupt the system. You build communities instead of, and like you said, you work together,
Yeah, we gotta
because
build communities instead of cages.
and let's look at it this way. Not only that, men, if you are an individual that has been absent,
Mm-hmm.
here's your time to step up. You can get back into the fight. you can absolutely look inward and get back into the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And for the women that have moved on and allowed another man into the life, a stepfather or
Mm-hmm.
something or something like that, that have stepped up to take care of this children, you as being the father who wasn't present in that child's life, you can still step up. Y'all can work together.
Yeah.
Two minds are better than one. You don't have to say, oh, he's got a stepfather now and I'm not going to be in that child's life anymore. You still can. Y'all can work together. It takes a village to build a children
Yeah.
up. I mean, I know it seems unconventional, but it'll work. It'll
Yeah.
work in so many ways. You as men, y'all appreciate each other because y'all appreciate the fact that y'all are working for the same common goal, and
Mm-hmm.
that is to build this child into something special, plain and
Yeah.
simple.
And so we're gonna get to segment 4,
Yeah.
And before I get to segment 4, I used to hear women, I'm the mother and the father. You can never
Yeah.
be a father. I don't care how much you raise your child, what you say to your child. You can never be the father as the mother. You cannot, no more than a father can
But
be the mother as a
yeah,
father.
but in some cases they don't have a choice because that
Now,
man is just not going
no,
to step
no,
up. They're
they're
just
not.
not going to.
Yeah,
There
but
are
they're not
some
being a
that will
father.
not step
They're
up.
being a mother that's alone in the process. Just
Right.
because the father ain't there, she ain't being a mother and a father. She's being a mother that's taking up the responsibilities of the father.
I got you.
So, what a father builds that a mother can't replace. That's the segment,
Okay.
right?
All right.
Father affirms identity. He
Okay.
provides structure and he speaks destiny, right?
Okay.
So let's go
All
to
right.
scripture. Luke 15. The prodigal son returned to the father's house, not just
Right.
because of provision, but because of presence, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Proverbs 4:1. It says,
Mm-hmm.
listen to a father's instruction. So the difference
Gotcha.
between correction and condemnation is the father's voice, right?
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Children need to know, I love you, son. Daughter,
Mm-hmm.
I love you. I am here for you, son. I'm here for you, daughter. I believe in you. That is
Yes. Right.
what a father needs to be in a child's life. This is why my children inside the home
Mm-hmm.
and my children outside of the home, all of them either benefited or was affected by my choices. I didn't make any
Okay.
mistakes because life is based on a series of decisions. I made some decisions that really put some of them in a bind.
Right.
And Shann, I called every last one of them and I said, listen, I want to apologize for my
Okay.
part-time relationship with you guys at times. And man, they received it.
Okay.
Now, whether they was honest about it or not, that's on them. But they told me that they
Okay.
appreciated it and they received it because fathers, you have to acknowledge when you are flawed. You
Yeah.
have to acknowledge when you miss the boat, miss the mark. You have
That's right.
to let your kids know that you're human, that you make bad decisions. But since you recognize that, you want to come back and let them know, because if not, they're going to tell you when they get older. They're
That's
going to
right.
say it to you one day when you get on their nerves and they feel like they need to express themselves. So, Shann, let's go to your talking point, man.
Yeah. Look, we celebrate women doing both roles, and I am a proponent to
Mm-hmm.
understanding why women have to do both roles in times because there are situations to where, I mean, the woman did everything she possibly could. She thought she chose the right man, and the
Mm-hmm.
guy was a joker. He was a straight up joker, and there's just no way around it. But the sad thing is that's never been God's order. Even
Mm-hmm.
Jesus had Joseph because protection and guidance matters. He had to make even God knew that Jesus needed Joseph in the home to give
Mm-hmm.
the protection and the guidance that's needed in this world today to take the load off of the woman. See, that's where we come in. We have to be present so we can
Mm-hmm.
take the load off the mother because people don't understand. This woman is going to carry this child for 9 months. And then after that, she's going to care for this child and nurse this child for the
Mm-hmm.
first few years of its life.
Yep.
And when the woman is doing that, she needs somebody there in her corner to help her along the way. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that a woman cannot do it by herself because some women actually choose to do it by themselves. That's a whole nother conversation. And they have that right. But if we as fathers, if we have been a part of it and that we are in this, we got to lock in, and we have got to be a part of the raising of this children if it is going to be a conventional type situation.
Hey, Shann, there's a comment that Blue put on Facebook. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why I can't see it. Lately, I have not been able to allow
Mm-hmm.
Facebook comments to come into the podcast. But he
Okay.
says, in order for that to happen, we need family law reform. It's set up for family separation since the FDR days.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you made that point. You definitely made that
Yeah,
point
yeah,
earlier
yeah,
on
yeah.
about that. Absolutely. Yeah, you're right, Blue. That has been in place to try to break up families that are trying to get a foothold. And a lot of that is those situations where the families are trying to get a foothold because it's not
Mm-hmm.
easy. It is hard to raise children. It's hard to afford to raise children. And sometimes people need that foothold. And the moment you let the system get involved, the system wants to break it all apart. So you're
Mm-hmm.
absolutely right, Blue. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm telling you, man, it's sad that um we allow that system to dictate
Hmm.
how we raise our children and why we raise our children. So I had to turn
That's
my
right.
iPad a different way so I can see some of these comments since I can't pull it up. Some people
Absolutely.
said facts. Yeah, Sam Blue says it says not the way these women are these days. Yeah, Sam. You know, there's no bad teachers, no bad students, only bad teachers.
Hmm.
Women are being taught by women. This is what you do to a man if you don't have him no more. This is what you do to a man if you go get another woman. You're not gonna let her get all this money. That the courts with this child support stuff made it, and I'm not saying it because I paid it. I'm just being honest. It doesn't really benefit the child like they think it does. It creates a separation, and that's because men ain't being responsible.
That's right.
Some men are not being responsible, and they make it bad for the men who are.
That's
Right.
right. Hmm.
So, be, man, we got to become the father you never had, and that's what I did with my children. Psalm 68:5 it says, "God is the father to the fatherless."
Right.
Redemption is real. Even broken men can be healed and made whole.
That's right. That's right.
You got
And
something to say
that's
about
where,
this, huh?
yeah, that's where I was talking about. You still have time. You always have time to be in your child's life and take it to the next level because even though any father out there that may have dropped the ball, that doesn't mean you have to drop your legacy. You can be the chain breaker in your bloodline, plain and simple. A lot of situations are families that have
Mm-hmm.
continued the curse, continued the cycle over and over again. I didn't have a father, so I'm going to make a child that's not going to have a father. Then that kid's going to make a child that doesn't have a father. And
Mm-hmm.
then before you know it, you got entire communities of fatherless children,
Mm-hmm.
entire communities of fatherless children. But there's a time right now, in this moment, this very moment right now, where we are in situations right now where our current administration is ramping up incarcerations. They're ramping up
Mm-hmm.
to try to imprison. I see it coming. It is on the way. They're going to ramp up incarcerations to make these big prisons as rich as they possibly can. And we as men have got to step up. Even if we even if you just want to be a big brother, somebody that goes
Uh-huh.
out and mentors children, because there's going to be so many children that just their fathers are not going to step up. And that's where we come
Yeah.
into play. That's where other men come into play to go out and take these children by the hand and find these programs because there's tons of programs out there that where we can go in and we can help mentor these children and be that father figure because there's thousands of men that
Yeah.
aren't the actual father but are the father figure. How I was with my son. I
Mm-hmm.
was able to step in and I was blessed to be the father figure to this kid. So we can all step up and make it happen.
Yeah, yeah. Listen. You may not have had a perfect role model as a father, but the
Hmm.
Word of God will teach you how to walk in His image, right?
That's right. Right.
In the way you were born to reflect.
That's
We
right.
we have to create our own narrative, even if we living in a fatherless home. When
That's
I
right.
was a kid, I used to ask my friends, "How do it feel to have a father? How I feel to have a father?" My mom used to get mad at me. Stop asking them that,
Right.
Mom. Even though you're giving me all you can give me, there's a void in me.
Right.
There's a void in me.
That's
So,
right.
Shann, we're going to try to close this thing up. So let's go to
Okay.
segment 6. the
Gotcha.
fatherhood redemption, the blueprint, right?
Yes, that's right. There is redemption, everybody. There is redemption with this.
Yeah, David fell, but
Mhm.
still raised Solomon.
That's right.
Joseph wasn't Jesus' biological father, like you said, but
Mhm.
was chosen by God to cover him, right?
That's right. That's right.
Malachi 4:6, he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children. See,
Mhm.
if God can use men like David, Jacob,
Mhm.
and Peter, he can use you, fellas.
Yeah.
He can use you. The difference is not your perfection, but your pursuit. Not your perfection, but your pursuit. You
That's right.
have to pursue the image of God so that you can give your children what they need. Even if they're grown right now, they still need you.
That's right.
Even if you're not, if they're
It
30
never
years
ends.
old, they
It
still
never ends.
need you.
It never ends.
You never stop being a father just
That's
because the financial responsibility has ended because of their age. No,
Mhm.
God don't. What if God stopped being our father because I'm 57 years old?
That's right.
What's going to happen to me? So, Shann, we're about to get out of here, man. So,
Yeah.
give us your final words, Shann.
Yeah, definitely. If you're one of those young men that are out here and you're having children after children after children, you can stop. It can end right now and right here today. And you can start moving in a direction to start fathering your children. You can start listening and seeking the word of God to find the ways that you need to do to try to help your children along.
Yeah.
We don't need to be another motivational meme. We need transformation. Be the man your son can imitate. Be the father your daughter can measure other men by in her future. You can start it today. It can start today, fellas.
Yeah, Shann, that was perfect, man. Listen, fathers, brothers, your present is a weapon. Your absent is a wound.
That's right.
Tonight, choose to return to your assignment.
That's right.
Your family, your identity. And then you become more than just a man. You start mirroring the Father.
That's right.
I'm telling you, the world is where it is. Not the world. Society is the way it is because we as men didn't step up and fulfill our role.
That's right.
You know, I always say this, Shann, no matter what y'all think of us or who you believe Shann and I represent, you must, if you believe in the Father, keep God and Christ first in your life. We are Mind Changers Podcast.
We told y'all, we came to expose the lies and reveal the truth. We told y'all, we bring in biblical principles of